Hi everyone, Mr. Peabody here, and this video is going to be longer than I would have liked because at the moment there's busy stuff happening outside, so I might get interrupted at any minute. But this is about how different people pronounce different words and how they actually, well, do that. So I mean, and it's not all Australians, it's not all Americans, and you will announce different vowels and stuff differently all over the world. I don't say, I mean, I could go and grab Kevin from inside the house and he would pronounce words different to me. We're both Australian, but we pronounce things differently. So it's like, but what he's actually saying is actually true, but to a certain extent.
Mew, 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 mew. Ah!
And how do I say emu? Well, I just said it. I don't say emu. I say emu. It's like a emu. So.
Emu! What is good, y'all? Tristan here, and today I am back with a new video. We are talking about 50 words that Americans and Australians just pronounce differently. As you can tell by the intro, the first word that Americans and Australians just pronounce differently is emu. So Americans pronounce it emu, Australians pronounce it emu. I recently did a video where I said emu and y'all just about lost it in the comment section. Everyone going after me for saying emu wrong or saying it the American way. It was actually that video, me saying emu, that kind of helped inspire this video. I had a bunch of you reach out to me saying that I should do a video about words that are pronounced differently. The first one to reach out to me was a subscriber named Craig, so shout out to you, Craig. But Craig, when he reached out to me, he sent me about, I don't know, 5 to 10 words that we pronounce differently. One of them being his very own name. He said the way I say it, just have been saying it, Craig, is wrong, or not how they say it in Australia. In Australia they pronounce it Craig. They really emphasize that A, Craig. Whereas in America we just kind of pronounce that name as like as if it had an E, like C-R-E-G, Craig. Anyways, those are the first two, but we got 48 more awesome words. So here we go. Number 3 is Puma, or as they would say it in Australia, Puma. Like the cat or the apparel company, or there's a petrol station line kind of like 7-Elevens here in Australia called Pumas, or what they say Puma, like a little gun, like pew pew pew. I don't know, that's what I think of when I think of it.
Yeah, well, I've never heard of a petrol station called Puma, but once again, I'm in Western Australia, so the eastern states possibly do have that, but I've never heard of Puma.
But yeah, pew pew Puma. Number 4 is buoy, or as they say it in Australia, boy. Like the little thing that floats in the water, we pronounce that buoy. Here in Australia, they pronounce it boy, like boy and girl, kind of, yeah, same thing, boy. Before I say more of these words, I just need to make a quick disclaimer and say that not all Americans say this like the American way, and not all Australians say these words the like Australian way. I ran this video, like this list, by a couple Australians. There was like 4 or 5 Australians. Not all of them pronounced all the words the exact same. Like there are a couple words that like a couple of them said it the American way. There's actually like 1 or 2 words on this list that I say the.
Well, the same things like aunt and aunt. I say aunt, and a lot of people will say aunt. So it's like, I don't know if that's going to show up later on, but let's find out.
Australian way, but in general, I think most Australians say it the Australian way, and most Americans will say it the American way in terms of this video. All right, there.
I will say another thing. Is like I don't refer to my mother as mum. I actually adopted the American way. I actually call her Ma, because my brother and my sister, they call her Mum. So I actually decided to do something different. So I call my mother Ma, and I know that throws some of you off because you think, well, he's Australian. Why is he calling his mother Ma? I just wanted to do something different. So I adopted the American way. It might not be the entire American way, but that's what I did.
There we go. That was the disclaimer. Number 5 is Nutella. This yummy
No,
stuff.
not
Americans
Nutella.
like me, I would
It's
pronounce
Nutella.
this Nutella, like it's Nutella. Here in Australia, they pronounce it Nutella, like a nut. Yeah, Nutella, Nutella.
No, we don't say Nutella. We say Nutella. Nutella.
Number 6 is the popular card game Uno. In America, we pronounce it Uno. It's kind of like.
Yeah, but it's you know. Everybody knows that.
The emu one, Uno. Here it is more pronounced like Uno. Number 7 is caramel, or as it said in Australia,
Caramel.
caramel. 8 is tomato, or as it said in Australia, tomato. Number 9
Tomato, tomato. Come on. This is ridiculous shit.
is a crazy one. It is this stuff that you like put over food and what
Aluminium.
not. We would call it in America aluminum. Here in Australia it is aluminium. 10 is the
I'm going to get every one of these wrong, aren't I?
apparel company. In America we would pronounce this
Adidas.
as Adidas. However, here in Australia it is Adidas. One thing I want to note real quick is a lot of these differences in pronunciations are like they come from England, and so a lot of these words that Australians say differently to Americans, you could almost make this whole list and say English people also say these words different. Not for all of them, but as a general rule of thumb, you could say it for most.
It's English words, and there's a certain way to pronounce English words.
Number 11 is this car
Nissan.
company right here. So we would pronounce this in America as Nissan. However, here in Australia it is pronounced Nissan. Number 12 is this, I don't know,
Asthma. But I mean, like, how can you? I say asthma. Asthma. So how is it different?
breathing, respiratory condition, whatever you want to call it. In America, we call it asthma, and in Australia, it's pronounced asthma. We kind of say it more
Come on, it's not asthma. It's asthma.
like a Z sound, like asthma, where here it's more like an S sound,
When you put the S before the T, it's ts, ts, ts. So it's asthma.
like asthma. 13 is this plant. We would call it
Oregano.
oregano in the States. However, here in Australia, it is pronounced oregano. This plant right here,
Basil.
I would pronounce this, or Americans would pronounce this as basil. However, in Australia, it is pronounced basil. This nut right here, me and most Americans would
Pecan.
pronounce this as pecan. However, in Australia, most people pronounce this as pecan. Now, number 16 is kind of
I'm losing the battle here. It's like I'm trying to. He's actually getting a lot of this stuff right, but he's going to get some stuff wrong eventually. So I'm waiting for it.
iffy one because I actually naturally say this one the Australian way, but I've heard it both ways in America. So that is apricot or apricot.
No,
So
it's apricot.
Apricot is like the
Apricot.
American way, but I've always pronounced it apricot, which is how like everyone in Australia pronounces it. Number 17 is fillet, or it's fillet if you're American. Here in Australia, they pronounce it as fillet. So
This one I have to disagree with. Fillet. We know fillet. We know what a fillet is, and we know it's a slice of something. But the reason why we call it a fillet is because of McDonald's in Australia. Because when they brought in the fillet of fish, I don't know what you call it in America, but they brought in the fillet of fish, and they on the advert called it the fillet of fish. So that's the reason why you get people saying fillet. So that's nothing to do with Australians. It's nothing to do with the English language. That's to do with American marketing in Australia. So that's your fault. But we know what a fillet is. So
it is a fillet. Fillet.
if you go to any Australian McDonald's, it's going to be a fillet of fish, and it's going to be double L. It'll be FILLET, fillet of fish. Oh, sorry. It'll say FILLIT. No, sorry. FILLET dash O dash fish. So that's your fault.
A fish or a fillet of fish. Fillet, fillet. Now the next two are just letters, but that is the letter Z, so I pronounce it Z as I just said, but in Australia they pronounce it Z. The next letter is this letter, H is that I would say it. However, and like some people in Australia
H. The fact is H. The actual H in H is supposed to be silent. So do we say H? A lot of people do say H, but that's nothing to do with Australian or American. That's just the way they see it on the paper and they read it off. But H, it's supposed to be silent. Same with Hyundai. I say Hyundai, and also another Korean company which is Hyosung, which makes motorcycles. You actually do pronounce the H. In Korea, they don't pronounce the H, so it's Yusung. Yusung and Hyundai. The H is not pronounced. That is just a problem with different terminology and pronunciation around the world, because the way they spell it is not the way it's said, and that's nobody's fault. Because I mean, like if you just put a word in front of someone and the way you spell it, they have to work out how to say it. There you go.
Actually, I do say H, but a lot of them here pronounce it H, like H. 20 is leisure, so me and like every American pronounces it leisure. I've never heard it pronounced any other way. However, I came here to Australia and they pronounce it leisure. The next two are countries, so Iraq, we pronounce it Iraq. Here they pronounce it Iraq. Like we say I, they say Iraq, Iraq. Same thing for the next one, which is Iran, Iran. Yeah, just a minor difference. 23 is fragile.
Iran,
it's
Iraq,
fragile
yeah.
if you're American. Here in Australia, how they say it is it's fragile. Like they say
Yeah, fragile.
we say ul. 24 is missile, or as they would say it in Australia, missile. And 25 is military, or as they would say it in Australia, military. America, military. Australia, military. Now 26 is going to be the most controversial of them all, because not all Australians, I would actually say most Australians don't say this word this way, but I've heard of a couple say it, and I'm telling you, it is so wrong. It sounds, of all the ones, this is the most triggering for me. I hate it when people pronounce this word this way, and that is vitamins. Like, did you take your vitamins this morning? You know, it's healthy to take your vitamins. Some people in Australia, I don't know why, but they pronounce it vitamins. No, it can't be.
Okay, let me explain this one to you. If you think that Australians say vitamins, you're wrong. We say vitamins. The reason why some people say vitamins has nothing to do with Australians. Once again, that's to do with American marketing. Because I don't know where American marketing gets off, but they think that we talk differently. Well, we do talk differently, but they think we have to hear something differently in order to pick up on shit. Vitamins was never an Australian thing. Vitamins was actually introduced by American marketing for vitamins. So I don't know where he's getting that bit from.
It's not vitamins. That just sounds so wrong. All these words that I've said, not one way is right over the other. They're just different ways of pronouncing words. But this one, I'm gonna stick by it and say vitamins is right. Vitamins, it just sounds wrong. 27. In America, we say garage. In Australia, some people still say garage, but a lot of people here also say garage. That one seems to be about like a 50-50.
Yeah, well, what do we say in Australia? We say garage. Garage. So it sounds a little bit different, but we basically say garage. Or garage. Garage, we say. But I don't know what he's saying in the difference is. I'm not picking it.
50 split here. It's kind of like there's an American way to say it and the English way to say it, and in Australia they kind of, I don't know, they kind of do both. 28 is this lovely striped animal right over here. I would pronounce this, Americans would pronounce this as zebra. However, in Australia they pronounce it zebra. 29 is mobile, or as they would say it in Australia, mobile. 30 is a crazy one because when I first heard it, like, I thought it was a different word.
That's wrong. That's wrong because I mean, like if you're talking about the gas station, it's mobile. Because there's no E on the end of it. If you're talking about something that's hanging suspended above your baby's crib, that's a mobile. But yeah, if you're talking about the gas station, no, we say mobile. So that's wrong.
I didn't realize that they were saying the same word, just pronouncing it different, but that's cordial or cordial. So yeah, in America, we pronounce it cordial, whereas here...
Cordial. To be cordial is to be, you know, polite, blah, 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 blah. Cordial is something you put in water to make it taste better. So you guys are messing that one up. Cordial is to be polite and, you know, treat someone with respect. Cordial is something you put in your drink. So that's not on us, that's on you.
Here in Australia, it's pronounced cordial. 31 is advertisement, and the difference is like which syllable you stress. So
Yeah, advert. Let's break it down. Advertisement. 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 So, what's the problem here?
So in American English, we would say advertisement, and in Australian English, you say advertisement. It's like there's more emphasis on the vert part. When we shorten that word, we refer to it as an ad, like, oh, do you see
Really, about some of this stuff, who cares? Who cares, really?
the Super Bowl ad? Whereas in Australia, when they like shorten that word down, they shorten it down to advert. So like, oh, did you see that advert? 32 is depot, so yeah, Americans, we pronounce it depot.
Depot.
In Australia, they pronounce it depot. 33 is this fragile little thing that you put flowers in, so we...
Now, this is a problem as well, because I say vase. So I don't know what's going to come up here, but I say vase, which would correlate with the Australian side, but let's see what he says.
You would pronounce it in American English as vase, whereas here in Australia, they pronounce it vase. So the way we say it,
Vase? Where'd you get vase from? It's vase. And I'm pretty sure, I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure that's another French word. So...
rhymes with like face, like your face, vase, face, whereas here...
We don't say vase. Where the fuck do you get vase from?
It is vase, as in like phase, like it doesn't phase.
It's a vase. Even the spelling there says vase. So I don't know what he's going on about.
Me. Phase, vase. Face, vase, phase, vase. Yeah, I think I'm saying that right. That's gonna be, yeah, you get it. Vase, screw it. You got it. You got it already. Moving on. 34 is adult, or as they would say in Australia,
adult.
35 is mom, which they say in Australia
it
as
did come
mom.
up.
But that's also English influence, but this is kind of more than just a different pronunciation.
Yeah, as I said, I call my mother Ma, which I adopted from Americans.
Because we spell it M-O-M, and here in Australia they...
and your spelling sucks as well. You took the English language and you just threw it on its head. You took out letters and you added in letters and you just did your own thing. And then you put the steering wheel on the wrong side of the car. That's on you.
They spell it M-U-M, so it's like, I don't know. I don't know if they pronounce it differently or if it's just a different word, but yeah. Mom. 36 is premier or premiere, so in America...
Premier. And by the way, we had a lot of cars that were named Premiers. You got to understand. There's different acclamations for this particular word. Are you talking about someone who leads the country? Are you talking about a premiere, as in like a premiere of a film? We'd say if a premiere of a film, that's different. But he's not actually giving context to this one.
In English, we would say this word as premiere, Australian premiere. I kind of like the way Australians say it more. I think that sounds more right, so yeah.
Because I mean, like, we've got premiers of state. So in other words, Mark McGowan at the moment is the premier of Western Australia. So you need context there. It's like, what context are you putting in? If you're talking about, as I said, the opening of a play or a film, that would be the premiere. But yeah, getting a bit confused here.
Premiere. 37 is herb, herb. I just said it the Australian way. In American English, herb, you just don't pronounce the H at all. And in Australian English, it is herb. You do.
Well, once again, we're saying it exactly the way it's spelt, with an H. But I'm pretty sure that not every American says herb.
Pronounce the H. 38 is scone, so this thing...
Nah, it's a scone. Why you for starters, you spell it wrong. So
right here, we pronounce that in American English as scone, whereas in Australian English, it is pronounced scone. 39 is this car brand right here, so in America, we pronounce this Hyundai, which everyone tells me is wrong. It probably is.
And as I said, in the Korean language, the H is actually silent, so it's Hyundai. That's the correct way to say it. We do say Hyundai, we say Hyundai, and we say Hyosung for the Korean motorcycles. But the H is supposed to be silent, but we say it as it's spelt. So we do add the H. So I don't know how you guys say it. Hang on.
So we pronounce this as Hyundai. Here they pronounce.
So you actually say Hyundai. So you completely wipe out the Y. Okay, gotcha. In actual fact, the H is supposed to be silent. So it should be Hyundai and Yusung. So we both say it wrong.
Pronounce it as Hyundai. Americans make it like 2 syllables, like Hyundai. Australians 3 syllables, Hyundai. Now 40 and 41 are quite similar, but that is semi. So yeah, we say this word.
Semi. Yeah. But look how it's spelt. It's spelt semi. So why are you putting semi?
As semi, like with the I, we say I at the end. In Australian English, they would pronounce it semi. Semi, but yeah, I know some Americans who say it the Australian way, the semi way. In similar fashion, we have anti and anti. Americans, hard I, long I, whatever you want to say, anti. Australians, anti. And similar to anti, we have aunt or aunt. So, and like, it goes, Americans say it both ways, but I've always said it aunt.
He's gonna go for that one as well. I say aunt. So I don't say aunt. I don't say aunt. I say aunt.
Aunt and uncle, but there are some people in America who pronounce it aunt. Here in Australia, everyone pronounces it, or at least everyone I've met has pronounced it aunt, which honestly kind of makes sense because, like,
yeah, aunt, not aunt, aunt.
Like, I don't know, your aunt isn't like an aunt, like she's an aunt. 43 is entrepreneur, so I've always pronounced this entrepreneur. And
entrepreneur. I can't believe I'm actually buying into this.
In Australia, they pronounce this entrepreneur, so like entrepreneur. 44 is niche or niche. So in America, again, Americans say this both ways. I've heard Americans say niche, I've heard Americans say niche, but
oh my god. Once again, this is a French word, and it's niche. Niche. The C and the H and the E go together to make an S sort of sound. So it's niche. So you guys are saying it wrong. If you say niche, you're fucking idiots.
It's pretty common to say niche. I myself have always said niche, but in Australia, no one says niche. It is niche here in Australia. 45 is this.
Well, here's the thing. It's like, do you realize the origin of words? Do you know where some of the words come from? Like rendezvous. Do you know where that comes from? That's French, right? So people say that differently. Rendezvous. But a lot of the English language is actually contrived of different languages. So niche. It's the same thing with, like, if you talk about Lamborghinis. Some people will say Lamborghini Countach. Some people will say Lamborghini Countach. Right? Because different parts of the world, when you put the C and the H together, they come up with a different sound. But that's a French word, so turmeric? Really? Turmeric. Okay.
This spice right here, so I would pronounce this as turmeric. However, in Australia, they would pronounce it as turmeric, like you have a tumor. Turmeric. You get it? Real quick, guys, I just want to say I hope you're enjoying this video, and if you are, please make sure you give it a big old like and maybe consider subscribing.
I'm getting crucified on this.
Don't have to, but I really do appreciate it. And if you like these types of videos, I got a whole lot more videos of like comparing like America and Australia.
This guy's a lot
about
of
the
fun.
language differences. So if you want to see those, I will link them all in the description below. Back to the video. 46 is bouquet. So I say bouquet, but like a soft bouquet. Here in Australia, they would pronounce it bouquet. A bouquet of flowers, bouquet.
Not true.
Bouquet. 47, I don't know if it's necessarily a difference in pronunciation, but it's kind of like a word, but also pronunciation. So if you have an animal, like a dog, that is your pet. And your pet likes it when you pet them. Or that's what we would say in American English. You would say you pet your pet. You pet your dog. We use the word pet as a noun and a verb. Here in Australia, they don't do that. They would say you pat your dog. You pat your cat. I don't know if you really pat cats, but you get it. They would say you pat your pet. We would say we pet our pet. Now these last three all kind of have to do with how Australians pronounce the R sound at the end of a word. So they just don't really pronounce it. So for example, we would say car, where here in Australia it's just like car. Like they hardly say the R. And this goes for like a bunch of words. Like any word that ends in like an IR, ER, AR. In Australia, just kind of how the accent is, they just say
all
so like
true.
Doctor, doctor, butter, butta, better, betta. The R is not really pronounced. Well, these last two, it's kind of a question for you Australians. It's going to be controversial, but I want to ask. These two cities, so y'all have Melbourne and y'all have Cairns. Australians love to get Americans a hard time for mispronouncing these cities. We call Melbourne, Melbourne, and we call Cairns, Cairns, because there's like an R there. Well, my question for you is, are we actually mispronouncing these cities?
No, because I mean, like, it depends on who you ask in Australia. I say Melbourne, Melbourne. So he's pretty accurate with that one. If I say Cairns, it's Cairns. I do more on the A, so I don't say Cairns, I say Cairns. But that's me. If you could, well, as I said, I could go grab Kevin and he would come out here and I'd say, pronounce that, and he'd probably say Cairns. So that's nothing to do with American and Australian pronunciation. That's just whoever pronounces it.
Or are we just saying them with an American accent? It's hard for me to say one way or the other, because like on one hand I'm like, all right, like whoever lives in that city gets to name this.
Oh, by the way, there's no way Kevin would be able to spell Cairns. so he would just say Cairns, yeah.
Cities and like say how it's pronounced. So yes, it's Melbourne and it's Cairns. But then at the same time, I'm like, if the actual name of the city, if the actual name is actually Melbourne and the actual name is actually Cairns, it wouldn't matter because
You say Karens. It's not Karens. Cairns. And yeah, Melbourne. Yeah, I suppose with the accent, we sort of like leave a bit of the R out of it. He's right with the R. If I say something's better, it's better. If I say it's bitter, it's bitter. But I say bit whether it, I don't say bitter, I say bitter. So I suppose he's correct.
The Australian accent just leaves the R off if it's ever in the last syllable of a word. So you would pronounce Melbourne, Melbourne, and you would pronounce Cairns, Cairns.
Well, at least we don't call family members ants.
Let me know in the comment section what you think. If you'd like to know anything more about Aussie slang, feel free to go check out that video right over there. I appreciate it very much, guys. Peace out and have a great day.
Well, that was interesting, and I'll catch you guys later. See ya.